Hello everyone and welcome back to another numismatic history video. In today's video we're going to be doing this coin quiz that is from Silverpicker, who's another YouTuber who does all types of stuff with numismatics, so let's jump into it. Alright, so I've got the quiz pulled up here, and basically I'll kind of play some of the video here, and he kind of does an explanation at the beginning of how it all works. And then I have a piece of paper in front of me where I'm going to write down all my answers, and I'll kind of pause the video and give you some explanations on my thoughts and things like that. I'm not expecting to get all of these. If I can get half of these, I think that would be great. Of course, I don't know how difficult it will be, but anyways, guys, feel free to follow along, and I'd love to see in the comments how you guys do as well. So let's jump into this. I'm going to get the video starting here.
I have an extremely difficult coin collecting trivia challenge. I put together a gauntlet of 20 questions ranging from easy to expert level. I know the answer to all 20 of these questions, so the real question is, can you beat me? So here's how it works. There are 20 questions total, and they get progressively harder. No multiple choice, just you, your brain, and the honor system. No cheating, no Googling, just you and your days, months, years, or decades of experience. The game will be scored as follows: 1 to 5 correct, and you're a coin dabbler. 6 to 10 correct, and you're a coin collector. 11 to 15 correct, okay, you're a numismatist. 16 to 19 correct, and you are a bona fide expert numismatist. 20 out of 20, you're a Silverpicker champion. Round 1. Easy questions. Question 1. What metal is the US 1-cent coin primarily made of today? No, it's not a trick question, meaning before they were discontinued.
Correct. So for pennies, what they're made of today, they're made of zinc today. Well, now they're not being made for circulation anymore, but they're still being made as collector's pieces. But they're made of zinc, and the transitional year for that from copper to zinc was in 1982. And during that year, they made both copper and zinc pennies. Now, the reason they switched to zinc was because zinc is just a lot cheaper. So they switched from the more expensive copper to zinc. So the first answer is zinc.
Question 2. In what year did the US stop putting silver into circulating dimes, quarters, and half dollars?
All right, so this one's a pretty easy one too. So the last year for silver for dimes, quarters, and halves, for 90% silver at least, because halves have that 40% silver as well. The last year that they did it was 1964, but this question is asking what year did the US stop putting silver into them? So that would be 1965, the following year. They didn't put any silver into them, although for the halves they did, but it was that 40% silver, and for halves, that 40% silver lasted until 1970, so the last year for silver for halves, if he's looking for this, is 1971 would have been the last year that they put silver into half dollars. But I think that I'll just say the answer that I think he's looking for is 1965.
Question number 3. In numismatic lingo, what do we call the heads and tails side of a coin?
So the heads and tails of a coin is that obverse and reverse. So the head side, or like the face of the coin, is the obverse, and the back is the reverse.
Question 4. Which mint mark is generally considered the most coveted by collectors of Morgan silver dollars?
All right, this one's an easy one too. This one is the Carson City mint mark, so that CC mint mark. A lot of them are just a lot lower mintage and rarer or harder to find, and so they are often the most valuable or most sought after Morgan dollars that you can find.
And question 5. What are the atomic symbols for gold and silver?
Okay, this one's a little harder. I know gold is AU, and I know silver is A something. I think it's AG. I'm going to go with AG. So AU and AG.
Question 6. What percent silver does a war nickel contain?
So a war nickel is nickels that were minted during World War II, so between 1942 and 45. They are made of 35% silver. So the US government decided to switch during that time from making nickels out of nickel to making them out of a 35% silver alloy. And they did this because they needed all the nickel for things like munitions and things like that during the war. And so they needed it more than they needed it for making coins. So they decided to use the silver compound. And then later their plan was they put a big mint mark on the back so that it could be easily identified. And their plan was to collect a bunch of them and then melt the silver back down, but that didn't end up happening. And so there's still lots in circulation today. So that's between 1942 and 45. So the answer to this question is 35%.
Question 7. In what year was the most famous 1-cent double-die obverse coin minted?
So that would be 1955, and that is a penny. It's a wheat penny, and the obverse just has some really, really major doubling in the date, and it's just super obvious, and is an extremely well-known example of a double die.
Question 8. Prior to the introduction of the nickel, what were 5-cent coins called?
Okay, so this is a fun one. So before the nickel was called a nickel, and of course nickels are called nickels because they're made of nickel, but before this they weren't made of nickel and they were called half dimes. And then later on they switched the composition to be made of nickel, and at that point they became nickels.
Question 9. What type of plastic is most infamous for destroying the value of coins stored in holders made from it?
Ooh. This one, I'm not certain. I know like PVC is known for damaging coins. I'm not sure if that's like the answer he's looking for. Some people will have put coins in PVC rolls and things like that, and it ends up damaging them, or tubes, I guess I could call them. So I'll say PVC.
Question 10. What is the name of the scale most commonly used to grade US coins called?
Okay, so this one is the Sheldon scale, and this is kind of an obscure one. I don't even know why I know the answer to this, but the Sheldon scale goes up to 70, from 0 to, or I think it's from 0 to 70. It might be from 1 to 70.
Question 11. What is the largest denomination bill ever printed in the United States?
All right, so this one is the $100,000 bill. So there's a bill that they made. It is a $100,000 bill, and it's actually illegal to own them, I believe. And they were made mainly so that big banks could do transactions between each other and between the Federal Reserve, I think. So they weren't something that would have been typically used by an individual. So yeah, that's the largest bill, the $100,000 bill.
Question 12. What does the gold-silver ratio actually describe?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he means by the gold-silver ratio. Um, I don't know if that's like how much gold or silver you collect or something like that. I'm not sure.
Question 13. What was the name of the man who designed the Lincoln penny? And don't you dare say nobody, because the US doesn't have a penny. I see you out there.
All right, so I don't know his name, but I know his initials, which are VDB, but I don't know the name, so I don't think I'll be able to get this one correct.
Question 14. What is the name for the type of error in which two different denominations are found on opposite sides of the same coin or bill?
All right, so this is called a mule error. This is where, like you said, this is where a coin or a banknote have two different coins printed on them. So basically, like you could have a penny on one side and a nickel on the other, or something like that. So it's called a mule because a mule is like a crossbreed between a donkey and a horse. And so it's kind of like a crossbreed for the coins between the two coins, or it's an error where they just got minted incorrectly. But it's a mule coin.
And question 15. What does FBL stand for on a graded Franklin half dollar?
Now this one I'm not sure either. I'm not super good with grading. I don't have a lot of experience with grades on coins and things like that. So I have no idea what the FBL stands for. So let me know what you think.
Question 16, here we go. What is the definition of seigniorage?
This one I don't know either. I have no idea. I'm probably going to feel stupid after this for not knowing some of these answers, but I know I've heard this before, but I don't know what it means.
Question 17. What is the hat that Lady Liberty is wearing as depicted on the Mercury dime called?
This is, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but I think it's a Phrygian cap or a Phrygian cap, something like that. It's with a P, but I think that's what it is.
Question 18. What is the official term as defined by the Continental Congress for the denomination equal to 1/1000th of a dollar?
This one I don't know either. I didn't even know that there was an official term for a denomination equal to 1/1000th of a dollar, because we don't have any coins that are equal to 1/1000th of a dollar, and we never have. The lowest denomination that I know of is the half cent, so half of a penny. But yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't know that this was a thing.
Question 19. At what mint was the most recently produced mercury dime minted at?
Okay, so I think this is kind of like a trick question because I was thinking about it. Yeah, so the most recent mercury dime that I know of being minted was actually a commemorative coin. So I think it was 2014. The West Point Mint made a gold one, a gold mercury dime. So I don't know if that counts, but I'm going to say that as my answer because I feel like since it's question 19, it's supposed to be a hard question, and I feel like that's kind of a trick question. So I'm going to go with the West Point Mint.
And finally, question 20 is a two-parter. It's tough. Excluding allegorical figures like Lady Liberty, who was the first real woman to appear on a US coin, and who was the first real woman to appear on a US paper bill? And which coin and which bill were they?
This one's hard because it asks a lot. I'm pretty sure Martha Washington was on one of the first dollar bills. Um, I have no idea for coins. I don't think it was her. Yeah, and I was gonna say like maybe it was this, maybe it really was just like Susan B or something, but I feel like there's got to have been someone before that. Um, I know Lady Liberty's been on a lot of them, which he is not a real person, so we're not counting that, like you said. But I'm going to say Martha Washington on the $1. I have no idea like what year or anything if he's looking for that, but we'll have to see for the answers, and maybe I'll get partial credit on it or something.
Let's run through this quickly. What metal is the US 1 cent coin primarily made of today? Zinc.
Zinc.
In what year did the US stop putting silver into circulating dimes, quarters, and half dollars? 1965.
1965.
Now, if you said 1964, I'll give it to you because the phrasing can be kind of ambiguous, but I think they stopped in 1965. Anyway, number 3. In numismatic lingo, what do we call the heads and tails side of a coin? Well, obverse and reverse.
Obverse,
4.
reverse.
Which mint mark is generally considered the most coveted by collectors of Morgan dollars? Well, of course, that's the Carson City Morgan dollar.
Carson City.
5. What are the atomic symbols for gold and silver? Well, AU for gold and AG for silver.
Okay, so it was AG. I got that right. I was really uncertain about the silver. I knew gold was AU, and I knew silver was something starting with an A, but I couldn't remember if it was G or if it was something else, so that's good. It's so weird that they're AU and AG.
Anyway, what percent silver does a war nickel contain? 35%.
Yes,
in what year was the most famous 1 cent double die obverse coin minted? Well, if you said the 1955 double die, you would be right.
Perfect.
Prior to the introduction of the nickel, what were 5 cent coins called? Well, they were called half dimes because, guess what? There was no nickel in them to be called nickels. And what type of plastic is most infamous for destroying the value of coins stored in holders made from it? Well, that is, of course, PVC or vinyl.
So he was looking for PVC. I'm going to count this one because I did write down PVC. So we'll count that, but I didn't know if that's what he was looking for or what. But PVC is known to destroy coins if you leave it in PVC. So don't put your coins in PVC.
What is the name of the scale most commonly used to grade US coins called? Well, it's called the Sheldon grading scale, and it goes from 1 to 70, and I still think that is completely dumb. It should go from 1 to 100 like literally everything else. What is the largest denomination bill ever printed in the United States? Well, it's the $100,000 bill. Yes, believe it or not, there was a $100,000 bill. Take a look. Well. And what does the gold-silver ratio actually describe? Not there was a $100,000.
So there's the picture of the $100,000 bill. It's a gold certificate there, so it can be redeemed for gold, $100,000 worth of gold. And again, I believe these are illegal to own as a personal collector. I know like the government has some, and there's probably some in museums and stuff, but super cool bill.
Take a look. And what does the gold-silver ratio actually describe?
Okay, this one I'm interested
in. It describes the number of ounces of silver required to equal the value of 1 ounce of gold. So in other
Okay, so that makes sense. The number of silver ounces needed to buy an ounce of gold. That makes sense. I have never heard of that term before, the gold-silver ratio. So that's interesting. That will be a good little piece of knowledge to know.
Words, how many ounces of silver do I need to buy 1 ounce of gold? What was the name of the man who designed the Lincoln penny? That would be Victor David Brenner. Good old VDB. Okay. What is the name for the type of error in which
I just knew VDB, so I'm not counting that for myself.
2 different denominations are found on opposite sides of the same coin or bill? Well, that would be a mule, and that's named for the fact that you create a mule with 1 horse and 1 donkey. What does FBL stand for on graded Franklin half dollars?
I have no idea on this
Well,
one
that would be full bell lines, as you can see right here.
Okay.
Now, this
that makes a lot of sense. It's like the full steps on the nickel. In the grading, they have the full steps term because the steps often get rubbed off really easily. They're one of the first things to go. So if you have full steps, then your coin is in pretty good grade.
I think might be the hardest question of all. What is the definition of seigniorage? Well, seigniorage is the term for the profit made by a government from issuing currency. And
okay, so that makes sense why I've heard the term before, but I didn't remember what it means. But this is like the whole reason why they stopped making the penny is the penny cost them more than it made them making the coin, because they had to spend more on labor and the metal of the coin than the coin was actually worth. So I think it ended up being like around 3 cents to make a penny, when a penny only costs 1 cent. So that would be the seigniorage. But I got that one wrong.
What is the hat that Lady Liberty is wearing as depicted on the Mercury dime called? It is called a Phrygian cap.
Phrygian?
Or it might be pronounced Phrygian. I don't know. I've actually never heard it said. I've only read it. Anyway, what is the official term as defined by the Continental Congress for the denominations equal to 1/1000th of a dollar? It is a mill, yes. There was never any coins produced that were a mill, but there was indeed a denomination. At what mint was the most recently produced Mercury dime minted? Well, this is kind of a trick question, but most recently a special gold issue of the Mercury dime was released in 2016 from the West Point Mint. And 20. Who was the first real woman to appear on a US coin, and who was the first real woman to appear on a US paper bill, and which coin and bill were they on? Well, that would be Queen Isabella I of Spain on the 1893 Isabella quarter, and good old Martha Washington on the $1 silver certificate,
so
first issued
Martha Washington I got right, and I did know it was on the $1. I didn't know it was a silver certificate necessarily. And then I had no idea about Queen Isabella, and I feel like that's a lot later than I would think too, 1896 and 1893, but that's really interesting. Let me know down in the comments what you think. I'm not going to give myself any credit. I was thinking maybe partial credit, but I didn't know the silver certificate part. But anyways, guys, this was really interesting. I really enjoyed making this video and kind of reacting to this. And I'll tag Silverpicker in the description of this video if you want to check out his YouTube channel. He's a much bigger creator than I am, but he makes some good coin content. And I enjoyed doing this quiz. But anyways, guys, if you followed along doing this quiz as well, let me know how you did down in the comments below. I'd love to see what you did. And I think, let me see, I think that he had like a scale at the beginning to say what you were based on how many points you have. I have 14 points here, so I'm going to see, I'm going to go forward in the video and see if that little scale that he made. All right, so I found it. He ended up not showing it again at the end of the video, but it is earlier in the video. So I'm in that 11 to 15, the numismatist section. So that's pretty cool. Let me know how you scored. And anyways, guys, I did want to say too, I'm working on editing my 2025 kind of like wrap-up video, and that should be coming out fairly soon, I hope. If not before this video, I'm not sure. I haven't decided how I'm going to release the order, how the release order will be yet. But anyways, guys, if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I try to do videos like this on various things dealing with numismatics, and I also do things like coin hunts. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. I love replying to comments and seeing what you guys have to say, and I'd love to see how you guys scored as well if you did the quiz as well. But anyways, guys, I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.